Morning, mathematicians. Yesterday we worked on solving word problems using a tape diagram. Today I want to teach you that mathematicians will solve bigger or smaller unknown comparison problem types by using manipulatives and/or the tape diagram. So we're going to be working on using a lot of tape diagrams to solve word problems. Let me remind you to follow the solve method when solving word problem. First, we're going to study the problem by underlining the question, making sure we understand what the problem is asking us. Next, we're going to organize the facts. We're going to circle all important facts. Then we're going to line up a plan. Then we will verify our plan with action. And one of our actions is going to be to use a tape diagram. And then we're going to examine our results. Let's read our problem. It says, Kim went to 15 baseball games this summer. Julio went to 10 baseball games. How many more games did Kim go to than Julio? Take a minute and ask yourself, what is this problem asking us to find? Let's read it again. Kim went to 15 baseball games this summer. Julio went to 10 baseball games. How many more games did Kim go to than Julio? Let's study the problem. What is the problem asking us to find? Exactly. How many more games did Kim go to than Julio? Step 2, let's organize our facts. What facts or information did this problem give me? Turn and talk to someone at home. Remember, you can always pause the video. Let's see. Kim went to 15 baseball games this summer. Is that an important fact? Yes, it is. So we're going to circle it. Remember to circle all important facts. Kim went to 15 baseball games this summer. That's an important fact, so I circle it. Let's continue. Julio went to 10 baseball games. Is that an important fact? Yes, it is. So let's circle it. And we already know that we're trying to figure out how many more games did Kim go to than Julio. And like we said, we are going to use a tape diagram to show our thinking. We're going to line up a plan. But before we do that, we're going to follow the video and work along to solve the problem.
So remember, we're going to read the question, write your answer statement with a blank, and then model. So we're going to begin by saying, okay, Kim went to 15 baseball games this summer. Julio went to 10 baseball games. How many more games did Kim go to than Julio? So Kim went to blank more games. All right. So there is my answer statement with with a blank. Now we're going to go back. We're going to read the question, and we're going to identify two characters in our story. We've got Kim and we've got Julio, and we're going to give them both the exact same length tape diagram. All right. And then we're going to go back and read it again, and this time we're going to modify the tape diagrams as necessary. So we always begin by giving our characters the same tape diagram, and that's deliberate. So Kim went to 15 baseball games this summer. We don't need to change this at all. We know that she went to 15 games, so we're going to label this as 15. Then it says Julio went to 10 baseball games. So is 10 bigger or smaller than 15? Well, it's smaller. So that means I need to chop off some of Julio's tape diagram. So it's a shorter tape diagram, so that part is not really there. We did that deliberately, and we're going to label this as 10. We begin with the tape diagrams being the same deliberately because the act of modifying the tape diagram helps students understand the problem. Oh, Julio has a smaller number of baseball games, so his tape is going to be shorter than Kim's. Now the question says, how many more games did Kim go to than Julio? So the idea is we want to know, what is this distance right here? What is the length of that tape diagram? So the act of having to modify our tape diagram helps us indicate where the answer is in this case. It's not always going to be this story, but we see that the answer is 5. So parents and teachers, I'm going to be focusing on the tapes. Your job is to help students walk through the whole process. Step 1, write your answer statement with a blank. Step 2, identify your characters and draw the same length tape diagrams. And then step 3, modify your tape diagrams and fill in the information as you read the question. And then step 4, get your answer. So it's a 4-step process. So Willie saw 7 reptiles at the zoo. Emmy saw 4 more reptiles at the zoo than Willie. How many reptiles did Emmy see at the zoo? So our sentence is, Emmy saw blank reptiles at the zoo. At the zoo. Right? So parents and teachers, that is the key thing right here. Whoa, I didn't mean to do that. The question is, can students even identify the answer statement with a blank right here? Do they even understand the question, let alone can they get the number as the answer? So who are our characters? Well, our characters are Willie and Emmy, and we are going to give them the exact same length tape diagram. That's step 2. Step 3 is let's start modifying these tapes based on the problem. So Willie saw 7 reptiles. Well, there you go. We now know, let's make it green because that's fun. Okay, because they're reptiles. That length is 7. Emmy saw 4 more reptiles. That means we need to extend her tape diagram a little bit. And that little piece right here is 4. So then the question is, well, how many reptiles did Emmy see? So we want to know her total, right here, her total. Well, that means we need to add this length plus this length. Well, we know this length is also 7, because remember, we started off by giving them both the exact same length. So Emmy is 7 plus 4, which is 11. So Emmy saw 11 reptiles at the zoo. And our last problem, Rose. Rose found 16 seashells. Lee found 6 fewer seashells. How many seashells did Lee find? So Lee found blank seashells. There we go. There's our answer statement. And we see that our 2 characters are Rose and Lee, and we're going to give them both the exact same tape diagram length. They don't look exactly the same, but it's close enough. So now we're going to go back and read the question. Rose found 16, so that means her tape right here, and I'll do it in red, is 16. Now it says Lee found 6 fewer seashells than Rose. So that means Lee's tape diagram has to be smaller. So I'm going to cross off some. It doesn't matter exactly how much of the tape, but we know that that part that I crossed off is equal to 6. So the question is, how many seashells did Lee find? So that means we're asking about this section right there. So what is that? Well, it's 16 minus 6. Or we could say blank plus 6 is equal to 16. In either case, we know that the answer is 10.